think outside the box. I wrote mine about a rumor about Abraham Lincoln being gay. Oh, if you're a guy, like, don't try and apply. It's not like isolated from men. I think I've wanted to ED since like...
Welcome back to the What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Kim, and today I'm joined by another very special guest. Please welcome Jolene Chang.
Hi.
Okay, so if you could quickly introduce yourself with your name and the school that you're going to next year.
My name's Jolene, and I'm going to Barnard College. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically the Women's College of Columbia.
I actually had a question about this because there's a big debate, at least on Reddit, about is Barnard part of Columbia?
Okay. I don't think you can ask Reddit people that because the people who are on Reddit, they're not going to Barnard or Columbia. Based on what I've seen with people who actually go there, it's definitely a part of Columbia. Like, it's one of their undergraduate schools, but I don't think it's like the same thing as Columbia. For me, like, I'll say like I go to Barnard College of Columbia University if someone doesn't know what it is, but I won't say like I go to Columbia because when I don't, and I'm like proud of the fact that I go to Barnard. But I definitely get people who say Columbia because it helps with connections and stuff.
Okay, so I know what I'll put in the thumbnail now. Barnard is unique in a lot of ways. One, that it's an all-girls school, but we'll talk more about that later. But what do you think mainly drew you to applying to Barnard?
One of my friends recommended Barnard because she's a current senior there. And when I was like doing my own college research, I wasn't sure if I wanted like a liberal arts college or like your normal typical university. So I think Barnard is like a really good mix of that. And also the thing with liberal arts colleges, a lot of them are in like the middle of nowhere, like rural, and I don't want that at all. Like, I really like an urban environment. I think Barnard is perfect for that. So
you mentioned that Barnard is a liberal arts school, which to a lot of people will mean no core curriculum and, like you said, in the middle of nowhere. But Barnard, from what I saw, they have something called I keep forgetting the name. Fundamentals curriculum, the innovative fundamentals curriculum. And I don't know anything about it, like how that works and how it's different from an open curriculum or like a regular core.
So I actually don't know a lot about a regular core curriculum because I barely did any research on that. The other schools that I was interested in also kind of had an open curriculum or like not as rigid. But for Barnard, there's foundational requirements. I think they're called distributional requirements. So you have to take 2 courses in languages, social sciences, and language in the humanities. And then there's also like these modes of thinking, and there's like 6 different ones. I don't remember all of them, but there's like thinking historically, thinking locally in New York City, I don't remember. But the requirements, they're able to be fulfilled by a lot of different things. Like for the sciences requirement, it's not just like biology or like chemistry. Like you can take, like psychology fills that requirement, astronomy, other things. One thing, they have a PE requirement for first years.
I saw that.
Yeah. So yeah, every first year has to take a PE class, but it's definitely not like our school's gym. There's a different one. So I want to take like Pilates, but there's like bodybuilding, yoga.
When you were talking about like the culture, something that came to mind, this is also common with most, if not all, liberal arts schools, but it is a very small undergrad population. I think it's around like 3,000 something. How do you see yourself transitioning into that sort of tight-knit community? And everyone at Barnard seems like very, very into the culture, especially with it being all girls.
Well, right now I'm like trying my best to like meet the people that are going to be my classmates through like Instagram, and I've made plans to like meet with them in person because a lot of them are from New York. And also admitted students stay. But I think the great thing about like how small it is that you'll probably have a lot of overlapping classes, and our first year seminars are Barnard only. So I think that's a good way to like meet new people, and like the clubs on campus too. Oh, and like the dorms are like all first years too. So
we need to talk about the fact that Barnard is an all-girls school. When you were first in the applications process and finding out about Barnard, what kind of reaction did you have to that?
Although it's like an all-girls school, I don't think it's the same as like ones that are like other ones because of like its relationship with Columbia. Like when I was on campus, there were Columbia guys everywhere. Like they were like in the dining hall in the courtyard. So it's definitely not like isolated from its like men. So I think I was fine with the fact that it's all girls, mostly because of its location and Columbia. But I think the good part about being like with an all girls school is that for me it's definitely easier to like connect with other girls because like we have a lot of things in common. So I think that definitely like brings us together, and it's like easier to make friends than with like a co-ed school.
Right. And another thing that I wanted to point out for viewers who might be thinking of applying, it is like more integrated with Columbia than you might think. Like Barnard students can take classes at Columbia, right? And Columbia
vice
students
versa.
yeah, right. So something to think about if you're applying, which brings us to the next segment of the podcast, which I feel like because a lot of viewers naturally are like, they probably clicked on this video because they are interested in applying to Barnard. So the first question that I want to ask you is there something that you think that someone who is planning to apply to Barnard but maybe hasn't looked at like the questions or the process, or maybe so much into the school, is there anything you think that they should know before they apply?
Yeah, if you're a guy, like don't try and apply. I've seen like 3 people say they tried to apply until they realized it was women's only. So
having completed the process of at least specifically the Barnard application, do you have any advice for someone who is applying to Barnard, whether it's early or regular?
For the essays, like I would say think outside the box for them. Like, okay, one of the essays is about like a time your perspective was challenged, and I wrote mine about a rumor about Abraham Lincoln being gay. Oh. So yeah, I promise it comes together. But yeah, it was like kind of a quirky topic, and I know like another girl talked about like a debate about putting milk before cereal. So yeah, like don't go with the standard like academic part of it. Like for the essays, I would try finding something that's like kind of niche and ties in with your personality or like whatever interests you've shown in the rest of your application, and like tie it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when did you realize that you wanted to ED to Barnard?
I think I've wanted to ED since like 10th or 11th grade. Yeah. So it's been my dream school for a long time, but I also had like other schools that I liked. I also liked Brown and Northwestern. Now
I wanted to shift the conversation a little bit towards your personal experience in Great Neck, because the reason why like we created this podcast is because it's like for Great Neck South kids more specifically. And so for you personally, what kind of activities, whether it's in school or in like the local community, did you involve yourself in?
So in this school, I did mock trial DECA, and I was like very briefly a part of the history club. And outside of school, I did a lot of volunteering with like cultural institutions. I did some political like social justice stuff, and I did like an internship at a museum. So yeah, I
can look at those and look at your major and see that it's definitely linked, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think that your high school experience influenced your major of choice when applying?
In like middle school, like I was like #1 history hater, like worst subject ever. I hated it. But after like 11th grade especially, I really started to like history more, and that pushed me to do more stuff with, that's why I did the internship at the museum, because in like APUSH, like I realized like how important history was and like the foundation of our government and like the legal system. So I think high school definitely helped me with that. So shout out Miss Tria. Thanks.
Is there anything that you'd like to mention about the application process and how that's maybe changed your mindset or something else?
I will say like the whole application thing, since it forced me to do like a lot of self-reflection, I think it made me more like aware, self-conscious about like myself, my identity, and like the things that I like was aiming towards in life. Because when I was like just starting writing my essays, I like struggled a lot putting the words down because I had no idea like anything about me, how how the activities I did in high school like tied together and how I would like be a good fit for a school. But after like writing a lot more, like I think that really helped me solidify my personal and like academic identity. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, appreciate you. If you would please like and subscribe and comment and just interact with the video, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to see more podcasts like this, and you want to see someone who's going to a specific school, feel free to leave a comment about that. And if you have any questions for our guest of honor, Jolene here, also feel free to leave them in the comments. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming on, and I will see you in the next episode.